This is the audio podcast show 132, recorded on the 23rd of October 2014. Yay!
Hooray! The audio podcast is back this week. We are here, and well, I am here. I'm Samuel Freeman. That's Scott Hewitt, but no Adam Yanchoff yet. He may drop in, he may not. We'll see. But show 132. Here we are. It's autumn, and it's the audio podcast. We have all full house of things today. We have news, we have other, and we have plunder. Good.
And the plunder for the British audience is so great, you almost want to go straight there, but we should resist and head straight into the news, which begins with Electron have announced the release of an update to the Octatrack. So, and there's an operating system update to 1.25C. Nice and catchy there. as an update release, which is pretty cool. And part of the reason the update is here is due to the fact they actually have more Octatracks available. There are more of them for sale. They've been out of stock for a while, but they've had a manufacturing run, and now there is stock available in time for the upcoming festive season, perhaps.
Yes, indeed. This is the Octatrack that was originally released around about 2011, and I think Sound on Sound described it as being like Ableton Live in a box. Cool.
Awesome stuff. There we go. So available if you get the Octatrack before October the 31st. You also get the new Central SidStation sound pack as well, included for free. But after that, you'll have to buy it.
Cool.
So,
more updates to things. If you want to find links to any of the stories we're talking about, then as you probably know by now, the show notes are online at theaudiopodcast.co.uk/show/132, because that's the number of the show. And the second news item is the Google Play Music app has been updated to include some of those Songza features, which we discussed on. I never got as far as what show. I was going to look up what show we talked about it. Scott, what are these new features while I find out when the Songza thing happened?
Well, there's things that you kind of presumed were happening already, but Google, obviously the really cool feature about streaming music services is that everything was about algorithms doing it, and now everything's about people doing it. So it's all about how your DJs curate your playlists and this kind of thing, which is all well and good. So the songs and features that are now part of the Google Play Music app, which, let's face it, is the most catchy name ever conceived for a product. The playlists are can now be tailored around your activity, mood, or even just the time of the day.
Now, on the thing I read, I wasn't quite sure if it was detecting your activity automatically based on other data, or do you tell it what you're doing, or is it using algorithms to find out what you're doing and then using human playlists to fit that, or is it not that clever?
I don't think it is that clever, but it would be really awesome if it did. If it really did actually offer you your own personalized soundtrack to your life.
Like we sense that you're on your commute. Here's your commute playlist,
I mean, it's Scott, you're running a little bit late for the train. Here is some slightly faster paced music, Chariots of Fire-esque, which will aid the run for the train.
Or the other way around, Scott. We see that you're running for the train, but the train is delayed, and so chill out, have some calm music.
I like that too. That's very good, yeah. And then likewise, maybe motorway rage assistance as well. Motorway's clear, have some driving tunes. Could be as Anyway, that's a feature for people in the US and Canada. For those of us in this part of the world, we will carry on with what I suspect is a feature that you would come to love if you had it, but you probably kind of, I'm sitting here thinking, well, that'd be really amazing, but the next time I go to work, I'll just put on my iPod as I normally do, and that won't worry me in the slightest.
Now, so Songza was acquired by Google in July.
Yes.
And we talked about it on show 121. So it's taken them from July to October, so early July to late October, to kind of announce the integration of these things. I wonder, I didn't watch or hear anything about the most recent Apple stuff, so I don't know if they mentioned Beats at all, but I'm just thinking now when we might see that happening, Anyway, that's an aside.
Very true, though the timescales there. Maybe some sort of Beats thing before Christmas from Apple, or I don't know. Maybe Apple have discovered that there's a shed load of Beats headphones piled up in some sort of warehouse somewhere, and that'd do for Christmas already. Just got to sell these red headphones first. My bad. I was actually recently musing buying another iPod actually, but it was an iPod Touch, and I am still very tempted. But that's an aside that has nothing to do with our news. We should stay on track. Positive Grid have announced the release of the Bios Desktop Amp Match Modeler, another incredibly catchy product name. Incredible catchy product name today. And this is a continuation of the amp modeling that Positive Grid are spending a lot of time on at the moment. And essentially what you get here is the ability to design your own kind of amplifier and kind of speaker to create a completely custom tone about this thing. And then you can share it online.
So that's very cool. But what's more cool is the metadata on this and the self-referential audio podcast, as always, because it was also on show 121 that we last talked about the Bios Desktop.
Wow.
Sorry about that, but okay.
That's fine. So basically, the Bios Desktop Amp Matching Modeler, which is included in Bios Professional. Like, I wonder if these people ever read this, ever just say these things out loud to themselves and think, you know what, guys, I could probably do better than this. It would be nice, I know that it's nice to have a professional and a non-professional. I know they like to differentiate on features, but kind of have a family, and then you have this extra kind of tag, don't you? It used to be HD was the tag you put on stuff. Now it's professional. Apparently, we're in the professional, kind of world. Well, I don't know. But these kind of things. But anyway, it's available if you're into playing kind of, if you're into kind of guitars and kind of using kind of modeling approaches for guitars, then I know that Positive Grid have had a good reputation for this kind of stuff for a long time. Certainly, I've used it a few times and always been very happy with the stuff that I've worked with. And there's always been that concern that even though there were lots of options, there's a fairly kind of obvious group of them that sound really good, and you hear those sounds quite a lot now. And as a consequence, the ability to just customize some of the elements of it a little bit, to kind of get that kind of slightly fresher sound is definitely very welcome in my opinion. So I thought that was pretty cool. I kind of like it. And the Tone Cloud thing, I don't know if you've looked into this or not, but Tone Cloud basically gives you a way of kind of communicating, here's the stack I've built, and now you can share it to other people. And it was a few days ago I was looking at a project with some students of mine actually, and we did actually use Tone Cloud to kind of pass the parameters between multiple machines, and it was just so incredibly quick and easy and slick. Like it's not like save a preset, go find out where the preset file is, put it on a pen, hand the pen round, copy it. This was press the button and everybody else types in the right, they know the magic phrase to search for it to appear immediately. Press the button and it's there. I was very impressed with Tone Cloud as well. So very impressive, with Bios in general, but certainly I was very impressed with Tone Cloud that day as well. Cool. Some other new things, Sam?
New things, yep. So the Python audio package library thing, Pio is Python module is the technical term they're going with there. So Pio has been updated with some new features and stuff. Yeah, what are the new features? I don't know.
I've come to the conclusion that it's discussing the new features of obscure.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a little, there's.
Yeah.
We have a reputation already. We're in danger of really living up to it if we're not careful with this, I think. Something that is cool, though, I don't know if you knew about it or not, but if you want to know what Pio sounds like, you can listen to Radio Pio, and if you are excited by Radio Pio, you could even contribute your own file, which will be automatically rendered and played on Radio Pio. How awesome is that?
It's pretty good. I checked. I was listening to that last week actually after following through from the new thing. Clicked on the link. It's in there. But yeah, you've put it in the notes. It's cool.
It is cool, isn't it? I thought that was awesome stuff. Also, released. There was meant to be a show last week and it didn't happen just because I was basically feeling grumpy. I just wasn't feeling very well. I wasn't feeling very well, and that's all the excuse I really need to give. Bitwig and Arturia announced a collaboration, which has resulted in some things they're referring to as the producer packs, which is essentially a Arturia Key Labs keyboard controller with Bitwig Studio and the Mini V. And these are currently available in a limited kind of stock situation. So there isn't an infinite amount of them right now. There is a kind of stock until stock runs out sort of availability on them. But there is still some stock available. And if you've been thinking, hey, it'd be nice to, if you, well, it's one of these classic moments, isn't it, where if you'd intended to buy these items independently, then you can buy them as a group. And
Or if you're looking to buy something similar, yeah, it's a good package. I think that's yeah. I think I'm still slightly disappointed. I think Bitwig is great, but I just when all the hype that was around before it was released, I kind of held back when it was released on saying it's not as good as I thought it should be. But yeah,
well,
sorry, where's Adam? I need help. Yeah.
With that, we've made it to the end of the news, perhaps.
Perhaps we have, well, kind of, except the other is sort of news, but there's so much of the same item of news that we've wrapped it in other.
So we're heading to the other section. I just the way that we put the show notes together led me to an observation a couple of days ago that it was incredibly easy for me to make a audio podcast definitive guide to OS X 10.10 compatibility as of a random and particular date. So as of the 21st of October 2014, the following information was utterly correct. But obviously it will change dynamically and fairly quickly. But I just thought it was fun. Essentially, I think what we should just do, I'll just quickly run and summarize this so people know. Steinberg would currently not recommend updating anything to 10.10.
Native Instruments would also say for the time being, just wait a little bit, maybe.
Waves intends to support 10.10 at some point in the future, but right now doesn't.
Isotope is saying we thought it would, but maybe not. We're not sure. Better be careful.
Harvard say no.
Presonus are currently working is some stuff. Yeah, so they have a list of things that will work.
Yeah. I kind of sold Avid wrong there. Avid say no as far as Pro Tools is concerned, but Steinberg Sibelius is running on 10.10, 7.13, 7.5, 6 is not and will never, but apparently does actually work, but they're not going to support it and qualify it. Ableton say yes for Live 9, 1.9, 9.1.5, but Live 8 is not officially supported on 10.10.
Motu are saying sort of.
Awesome. Cycling 74 were saying nothing at all, but unofficially I had a quick scan through the forums and there are a lot of people saying that things are working fine.
Similar with Reaper, it's maybe it seems fine, but it's unofficial.
Unofficially, I found nothing from Apple, and a quick perusal of the Apple forums found a number of posts reporting problems with the combination of iLok, Logic 10, and 10.10. So I think if you're wanting to run Logic on 10.10, that looks like it is working reasonably well. But if you have an iLok in the mix, no go. People have said that the iLok's working fine for them in other environments. It was definitely like, there was a definite thread of Logic 10 people with iLoks having problems. So I thought that was quite worthwhile. There you go.
And finally, Focusrite are saying that some things are not working. However, most of their interfaces are good to go.
There we are. So that was the Audio Podcast's definitive guide to 10.10 compatibility as of whatever date it was I made the list.
It was the 21st of October, which was Tuesday.
You're actually fine if you go to theaudiopodcast.co.uk/show/132. You actually find that all of that information is there, but not only is it there, but the links to the relevant pages on the manufacturer's websites are all there as well. So, if you come across it and think, I wonder what the situation is now, there's a good chance if you click on the link, it will take you to the most up-to-date version of the information as well. So I thought that was, pretty cool. Just so it's clear to everybody, we have no intentions of keeping this page up to date in any way whatsoever. That's the reason why there's a date at the very top of the page that says when it was written. So, there we go. Because that's no fun, is it? It's not very interesting, when I'm sure when when Avid announced support for Pro Tools in February or something like that, we'll probably mention it. But it'd be about February, won't it? Maybe they're going to pass it. Anyway, the over is concluded. We should head into the plunder, which
Arg.
is a yeah, arg indeed. And this first item of plunder is utterly spectacular if you happen to live the right side of the Atlantic Ocean.
And they're of a certain age group, I think, as well. I think there's, but that's quite a really quite wide, large certain age group. It's
I
quite a
think it's the
span.
right. I think that age group is well represented amongst our listenership. I suspect.
So,
Yes.
Tinchy Stryder and the Chuckle brothers.
Yes. Yeah. To me, to you, bruv, is the name of the charity single, and may it long succeed is all I could possibly say. Utterly spectacular. You enjoyed it, Sam? You were
I
telling me
did
you
it.
enjoyed it.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I pressed play, and I I'm not quite sure what I saw either. Actually, but I did enjoy it. I kind of it's both serious and not at the same time. Like it worked. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably completely wrong, but it seemed to actually work in a way that I hadn't expected it to prior to pressing play.
Indeed so. Indeed so. I like it a lot. And while you are enjoying the show, while you're enjoying the musical feast that is that track, you can, if you wish, also have a little bit of light reading. A great article from Digital Music News, which was 14 reasons why music entrepreneurs fail, which I thought was quite, yeah, something like that. It's worth a read. So stuff like that. I know much of our listener. I think our listenership is very kind of technically interested. So they're probably like, yeah, I don't know, but maybe every now and again it's worth just thinking about these things a little bit, isn't it? So there they are. There we go. Cool. Well, we've done it. We've come to the end of the show. So it's
Cool.
fine. It's been perfectly okay. Adam didn't. Adam was meant to be here, and he isn't. So we carried on without him. But we will certainly check he is okay.
We have changed time and date, but it was agreed by email, but things change.
So, if you happen to be a fan of the good old fashioned email, as we are, you can feel free to email us at show@theaudiopodcast.co.uk.
If
With
if
kind remarks are very welcome. Negative remarks are likely to, well, you could send them. That's fine. You also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus, and you can subscribe to the audio podcast on iTunes, G-Podder, Stitcher Radio. We got quite a lot of Stitcher Radio people recently. Actually, it's kind of fun. There you go. That's awesome. I think we've made it to the end of the show, so.
we have, I didn't start a clock, but it wasn't very long today. So let us say goodbye, and we'll see you next time for the next show of the audio podcast. I am and have been and will continue to be Samuel Freeman.
And I, Scott Hewitt, will also continue to be myself.
Bye.
Bye.